The wind, a ragged beast, clawed at the dilapidated farmhouse, its wooden bones groaning under the relentless assault. In the vast, desolate expanse of North Dakota, this was Eugene Butler's kingdom, a place where shadows stretched long and secrets grew like weeds in the neglected fields. The locals of nearby Niagara spoke his name in hushed tones, their eyes wide with a mixture of fear and morbid curiosity. He was a recluse, a ghost haunting his 480 acres, a man who had traded the promise of Royalton, New York, for the isolating embrace of the plains. Eugene hadn't always been this way. His early life had been painted with the hues of ambition, a quiet boy who dreamt of making his mark on the world. But somewhere between the rolling hills of his youth and the flat, unforgiving landscape of North Dakota, something had fractured. The isolation, they said, had curdled his mind, turning dreams into nightmares. But perhaps the seed of madness had always been there, waiting for the barren soil of loneliness to nurture its cruel growth. His neighbors rarely saw him, their proximity defined only by the fear that kept them away. They whispered stories of Eugene, a spectral rider on horseback, his screams swallowed by the vast, uncaring night screams directed at phantoms only he could see. They labeled it insanity, but for Eugene, it was a desperate primal struggle for survival against forces he couldn't name. As the 20th century dawned, Eugene transformed into a walking enigma, a figure shrouded in delusion and dread. By 1906, his troubled soul found itself confined within the walls of the Jamestown Asylum, a place that promised healing but delivered only further confinement. There, amongst the echoing halls and the despairing cries of the other inmates, Eugene's torment continued. He spoke of invisible beings chasing him through fields painted with the blood-red hues of sunset, a macabre reflection of his internal horrors, and perhaps a distorted memory of some unspeakable event. "Don't take my picture!" he had screamed during an attempt to lift the spirits of the patients with a dance. "The camera will suck out my soul." His small frame belied a frenzied intensity that unsettled even the nurses, his desperate longing for something, anything, lost within the tangled mess of his shattered sanity. Then, on October 22nd, 1913, Eugene Butler's tormented journey ended. A sigh, a release, escaped his lips within those cold asylum walls. No one mourned for him, save perhaps the other lost souls who shared his descent into madness. 2 years later, the earth seemed to respond to some unspoken plea. Workmen, arriving to renovate Eugene's neglected estate, stumbled upon a darkness buried beneath the surface. They found a cellar, a hidden chamber of horrors directly under what had been Eugene's living space, and within it, the bones of 6 teenage boys. Their skulls were crushed, their bodies broken, silent witnesses to unspeakable violence committed behind the farm's whitewashed walls. The discovery sent shockwaves through the peaceful town of Niagara. Eugene Butler's name, once whispered in fear, now screamed from newspaper headlines. But the answers remained elusive, the identities of the lost boys dissolving into the mists of time and death, alongside their killer. Among those searching for closure was John Urbanski, haunted by rumors linking one of the victims to a missing loved one, his brother, John Miller. John had vanished 10 years prior, last known to be working for Butler. Letters exchanged between them hinted at promises and a life envisioned, but offered no clue to John Miller's final fate, a fate that now felt inextricably linked to the bones unearthed in the cellar. Days turned into weeks as investigators sifted through the bones, each fragment whispering a heart-wrenching story. They were the silent pleas of lives cut tragically short, cries for justice that had been swallowed by the unforgiving earth. The weight of the unanswered questions began to permeate the very air, the silence of the surrounding plains now thick with sorrow. Each creak of the old farmhouse, each shadow dancing across the floorboards, seemed to echo the unspoken truths, a stark reminder of the horrors hidden beneath a veneer of placidity. Forensic anthropologists now speculate about the possibilities that modern technology may bring. Perhaps, one day, they could identify these lost souls. Maybe they could finally unravel the mystery of Butler's madness and give these long-forgotten victims the peace they had been so violently denied. Until then, the shadows would continue to linger, and the haunting secrets of Butler's farm would remain, a grim reminder of the darkness that can reside within a man. The wind still howls, a constant lament for the souls that remain, forever searching, forever lost in the vast, desolate landscape of the past.